Good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football gods. I know it's early. You know the old saying, the early bird gets the worm. Well, I guess I'm getting the worm because this is really early. It's about 6 a.m. this morning, but I am hitting the road again. I'm going to send my daughter and take care of rebuilding a shower. If you want to see that, be sure to check out my other channel, Joe Boo's Day Job, because we will definitely be working on that and getting it all together. And so I've got a good drive up there. Fortunately, Michael Anthony Fitness Reactions Gig Economy, he's got a new channel. We'll be here taking care of the shipping and getting out all of this great merchandise to you guys and keeping the inventables humming. So I went to bed last night with a crazy idea in my head, and that was about Semi Fuco. Semi, who is a 6'4", 228-pound wide receiver, and thinking about how the Dallas Cowboys can evolve their offense and come up with a new wrinkle. And it's possible, conceivable with that height, with his abilities, that the Cowboys use him as a hybrid tight end wide receiver. I'll have more on that, in the coming days and things, or in the near future. At the moment, what we must deal with is the reality of free agency. This month of February is pretty much gone. We only have a few more days left of it, and come the 14th is legal tampering. Thus far, the only thing we've heard is the Cowboys are trying to get back Michael Gallup. Guys, we have 21 free agents. That's a lot of guys if you're planning on trying to keep them to try and work in the next 2 weeks and a couple of days. Add to that next week is a compressed combine. Monday will be physicals. Everybody will be having all the players going through like their cattle and stuff, poking and prodding and, raising the teeth and checking the knees and everything else. They got the media day, the second day. They've got the actual workouts the third day, and then boom, back to the star. They've got a lot of work to do next week. That leaves 1 week after that to get anybody signed that they're going to have signed. But I'm beginning to believe that the Cowboys, a lot of times what happens is you can get drunk on your own supply. The Cowboys could be looking at a situation where they looked at it and they said, we had a similar situation 2 years ago. We let go a lot of free agents, from Byron Jones. We ended up letting go Jason Witten. We ended up letting go Jeff Heath. We ended up letting go Robert Quinn off of 11 sacks. We let all of these guys go, and we ended up getting like 4 compensatory picks. And so they think about this and they say, you see what we did with the team and building the roster last year with all those compensatory picks? We got a lot of players in there. We got a lot of warm bodies. This year, well, we might get a 4 for Andy Dalton. Maybe it behooves us, since we're in this cap situation where we are way over at $21 million, we can create space. But it sure was nice having those 12 picks at the draft last year. 12 picks. And we even traded back to get an extra one. So it could be that the Cowboys are saying, we're in this cap hell because we deemed players that we could not lose, because we said we can't let a guy go. So we signed DeMarcus Lawrence to a $90-some million contract. And in 3 years, we get 14 sacks. Maybe had we let him go and get that contract elsewhere, maybe we would have had a 3rd-round draft pick, and maybe instead we would have actually had $66 million of actually cap space to have paid some free agents. And so you start thinking about, do we want to pay Dalton Schultz You know, that franchise tag, $11 million. Or do we say maybe we let him go, he signs a contract, and maybe we get a fifth-round Compensatory pick? Do we want to sign Randy Gregory? Because Randy Gregory could probably get a deal like Robert Quinn, in which case we could get a fourth-round Compensatory pick. Maybe through the course of losing some of these free agents, maybe we end up getting, say, a fourth and a couple of fives and a six. You know, and you could package some of those up, and you could maybe get in the second round or move up in one of these rounds and get some extra money to play with, not this year, but the following year. Because football is not about just one season, unless, of course, you're the Rams or Tampa Bay, where you go all in. And the Cowboys are always playing the long game. So it would make sense that the Cowboys are looking and saying, we've made mistakes of big contracts for a Jalen Smith who's no longer on the team. We had to cut him and eat his salary in the middle of the season. You know, we ended up having to eat big contracts with Zeke Elliott. Maybe we would be better off having to have made him play on the fifth-year option and letting him walk and maybe getting paid elsewhere, looking around and seeing what happened with Todd Gurley after he got his, and Melvin Gordon never got his, but you see the production drop off the map. Maybe we need to look at this differently and let these guys go, because there's some really good big-name players out there in free agency. So we look at linebacker and say, you know, Bobby Wagner might be released. Maybe a Demario Davis gets released. Maybe we let these guys go and we wheel and deal with some other free agents. We create the cap room. But maybe we look at, instead of Dalton Schultz, we look at some of these other tight ends, because there's going to be a lot of them on the street. Because we're the Cowboys. We the boys. Everybody wants to come to the Dallas Cowboys to get paid and get that publicity. And maybe we're better off changing what we do, where Stephen Jones says we believe in our own free agents. We believe in our own free agents because we know what we're going to get. But he also believes in the value pickups. And it does not seem there's any sense of urgency to let anybody get a new contract, that we are ready and prepared to let you guys test the free agent market, kind of like they did with Amari Cooper. I don't know. But one thing I can say is Mike McCarthy is on the hot seat. I will say that I don't believe that there's anybody out there whose seat is hotter than Mike McCarthy without even having played a game yet. Let's get up this morning, hear what they have to say about it, and I'm going to hit the road.
It's a good thing for the Cowboys, Bart.
Not at all. This reminds me of one of your favorite songs in high school, Greeny. I wish I had Jesse's girl. When you look at everything, like you got three coaches all trying to try and be the head coach, with Sean Payton looming over the top of Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is a dead man walking, because listen, there's nothing that he can do that helps him in this situation. Because guess what? If the defense plays well, it's going to be because of Dan Quinn. If the offense plays well, it's because of Kellen Moore. If they lose and this season is a disaster, it's all Mike McCarthy's fault. So this is what happens when you have guys that are lurking for your job, that's looking at your girl. You can't leave the room. You can't be comfortable, because they're going to be up there ear hustling and trying to spit game to the general manager about what you would have did in that situation. We got Sean Payton talking about what he would do in the situation. He ain't even that damn head coach. So Mike McCarthy is in a worse situation, because everybody's looking out for Roscoe Jenkins, the team of me. Everybody's trying to get their head coaching job, and they know that Mike McCarthy can be a dead man walking. If you can't trust your assistants, you can't do your job at a high level.
I like the Rick Springfield comparison. It works for me. RC, does it work for you?
I don't know about the comparison, but here is what's true about what Bart is saying. You have a GM and an owner with wandering eyes. He's not the type of guy that's going to settle for the 6 that he has at the head coaching position. When you look at a guy like Dan Quinn, who, if you listen to people like Michael Parsons, you listen to people like J-Ron Curse, this is a guy that is beloved in the locker room. Many people think that Dan Quinn was a huge reason why this team made a total turnaround, not just the defense, offense. And so when he comes back, after many expected him to get the Denver Broncos job, I believe that coaching office gets extremely crowded, whether it's for Mike McCarthy, Kellen Moore, or Dan Quinn. Who is truly making the decisions about how this team proceeds going forward, and how is that viewed by Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones? And my other thing is this: I love that Dan Quinn is back. I don't necessarily know that I feel like Kellen Moore shouldn't have gotten the opportunity to run it back. This is an offense with $100 million tackle, with a guard that's going to be a Hall of Famer, $100 million outside, a guy like CeeDee Lamb, $90 million at the running back position and $140 at the quarterback position, and you couldn't score enough points to win a game at home against the San Francisco 49ers. I feel a change could have been made at the offensive coordinator position, but I still feel like Dan Quinn, even more than Sean Payton, is the biggest threat to the head coaching throne of Mike McCarthy.
What do you think, Ty?
I always go back to camp. Remember, we talked about it on the show when Jerry Jones was talking about the day, just a regular press conference, and Mike McCarthy's the head coach, and all he kept talking about was Dan Quinn. And I just kept thinking, wait, did I miss the story? Is Dan Quinn the head coach here? Did I get confused? And I didn't. And it was just because Jerry couldn't say enough great things, because that's what the players are saying. And what a great change for them going from Mike Nolan to Dan Quinn. I really think that was a big part of the reason why they enjoyed being around Dan. But then after the season they had with all the turnovers, you look at their division, they're in a weak one. They should be just as good, if not better, this year. And that's what we'll see. And Ryan makes a great point about Mike McCarthy right now. Everyone is looking and picking at him because I think there's people who believe he shouldn't be the head coach. It should be Dan Quinn's job. And as for Sean Payton, we don't know much right now. I know, they've all said they haven't had conversations, and people that I've spoken to, I spoke to Jerry recently, they claim they haven't had conversations, but I think it's fair to say that he's lurking.
Me and RC are defensive experts.
Yes.
Listen, I would love to get a job where we were the worst historically, and I can become 16th in the league, and all of a sudden I become a genius. 16th in the league? Yeah. I've never finished 16th in the league in my career, and I'm sure Ryan Clark's never finished 16th in defense in his career, but yet this dude's a guru. Come on, man, you're killing me, Petey.
Okay. In yardage, yes. In points, in takeaways, when you say, see, this is one of those cases where
can take numbers and skew them any way we want. We often can take numbers and we'll fit them into the narrative that we want to try and paint. And I probably am guilty of this. Can take numbers and skew them any way we want. We often can take numbers and we'll fit them into the narrative that we want to try and paint.
Scoring defense went from 29 to 7. Takeaways, number 1 in the NFL. So if you're going to tell the story, tell the whole picture. Don't just put part of it in there. Let's get the story straight. All right, good people. This is the quiet before the storm, before the combine, before free agency starts kicking in. It's going to start picking up first of next week. It's going to start getting wild again, and there will be a lot to talk about. So hopefully we will be making some news that will get us back to where we hopefully believe we can be. I'm Mark Holmes, and you know how we roll. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Damn, it's dark out.
Just did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to